Tonight, a bagel shop owner in West Orange, New Jersey, says he's being targeted by the town over his window treatments.
He says that he was just trying to keep his workers cool and his bills down. But as CBS 2's Nick Calloway reports, the town says that he's got to say so long to those shades.
Laying people off right now, but one local bagel shop is committed to keeping all of its employees on the payroll during this pandemic.
And thanks to lots of you right here in the tri-state, so far they have been able to do just that, which is awesome,
That
right?
is really great.
It's incredible. So this story is kicking off this week's edition of, here we go, Paula.
It always feels good to help people in need. This is why Ted Rao, a disabilities lawyer, retrieves perfectly fine bagels from the garbage of bagel shops around New York City, rebags them, and gives them to those in need. This Good Samaritan gained fame for his actions, but not all for good reasons. Some people see him as an angel, while others view him as merely redistributing garbage and causing business headaches such as Bagel Pub. It's a showdown between Bagel Pub and Rao, and you will want to take advantage of it. Bear with me. Welcome back, everyone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on all the latest news.
All right, so picture this. For every 10 households in New York, one of them is likely suffering from food insecurity. The USDA defines food insecurity as the inability to acquire adequate food for one or more household members due to a lack of resources.
Hunger Free America's research reveals a staggering statistic. From 2020 to 2022, 11.7% of New York residents, equating to 2.2 million people, lived in food insecure households. Among them, 579,658 were children. This reality is disheartening, likely stemming from the relentless rise in living expenses, particularly the cost of food, while wages remain stagnant, failing to improve people's livelihoods. With so many New Yorkers struggling to put food on the table, it's alarming to note the significant amount of food that goes to waste.
Way too much perfectly good food.
This is like a pristine cookie.
40% of all food in the U.S.
Did you know that nearly 20% of New York State's residential waste comprises food scraps, contributing significantly to landfill-generated methane emissions?
Look what I found. This is a beautiful strawberry. Why would someone throw this away? And this is my face after finding some unexpired steak in the trash. Filet mignon. Why am I doing this? Because we in America have a crisis.
Much of this wasted food is perfectly edible. A considerable portion comes from food shops and restaurants that adhere to protocols mandating the disposal of unsold food by the end of each day. This is where Ted Rao enters the picture. Meet Ted Rao, who garnered local acclaim on Franklin Avenue 6 months ago for his unconventional actions. He began rummaging through the trash bins of the nearby Bagel Pub chain outpost, salvaging the leftover baked goods to redistribute to those in need. Rao would proceed to package the bagels in plastic sleeves, 6 at a time, before distributing them strategically across the neighborhood. He'd leave them on park benches outside the store or at bus stops, extending help to those in need. During bustling weekends, he shared that he could fill up to 35 sleeves, estimating this to be roughly 200 bagels. Rao is a member of the Klassen Community Fridge, a collective dedicated to collaborating with local businesses to repurpose surplus food within the neighborhood, preventing it from going to waste. Rao expressed that being able to put the bagels out for hungry people was the best part of his day. While Rao's efforts may seem angelic to some, not everyone shares this sentiment. Before we move on, don't forget to subscribe to stay informed. Bagels aren't just a beloved delicacy in New York, they're also at the center of a conflict between Rao and Chris Kotsis, the manager of Bagel Pub. The story begins like this. By the end of February, Rao alleges that he was compelled to halt his evening scavenging routine because the once perfectly good bagels began to be mixed in with inedible scraps.
So I'm here in front of Bagel Pub. Today's February 21st, Wednesday. It's 7:30ish. Bagel Pub has poured wet oatmeal all over the bagels.
A local attorney has accused the manager of Bagel Pub, a popular establishment in Crown Heights, of intentionally ruining old bagels, such as by covering them in chemicals and food scraps, so that Rao, the dumpster diving do-gooder, cannot donate the leftovers. "These bagels are perfectly good," stated Ted Rao, a 47-year-old Social Security and Disabilities lawyer. "I observed that the bagels were spoiled. They were double-bagged, with the day's leftover oatmeal poured in. Sometimes there was a chemical odor, rendering them unusable." Another member of the community group, Terry Chow, aged 34, asserts that during her last inspection of Bagel Pub's garbage 2 weeks ago, the bagels were tainted with a strong smell reminiscent of lemon Lysol or Clorox and were covered with moist oatmeal. On Thursday, a reporter from the New York Post visited the eatery after it closed and discovered cinnamon bagels mingled with what appeared to be a chicken wing bone in the trash. Chris Kotzes, manager of the Bagel Pub Outpost since its opening in 2015, strongly disagreed, stating that the discarded dough goods were of poor quality, dubbing them garbage. He felt compelled to take action after receiving complaints about the mess caused by Rao's activities. According to Kotzes, Rao is just feeding people garbage. He mentioned attempts to cooperate with Rao, but the latter insisted on receiving free bagels, which wasn't feasible for the business. Kotzes expressed uncertainty about Rao's intentions with the bagels, raising concerns about potential resale. On the other hand, Rao acknowledges that he never reached an agreement with Kotzes before he began diving into the bagel spot's dumpster. Rao mentioned that he had an unspoken agreement with the cleanup crew who observed him sifting through the garbage and repackaging the bagels. According to Rao, they didn't intervene. He asserted that the bagels he collected were uncontaminated and only comprised bagels. However, Rao acknowledged that leaving the bags of bagels outside the store once was an inadvertent error. This incident greatly upset Bagel Pub. Kotzes contends that Rao's clandestine activity led to complaints from neighbors and nearby businesses about finding torn plastic sleeves littering the streets. Kotzes revealed that Bagel Pub received 3 citations from the Department of Sanitation due to loose bagels appearing outside the store and torn baggies scattered on the block. As Kotzes describes, there are ripped bags everywhere, and he can't have that in front of the store. He mentioned offering Rao the opportunity to purchase the bagels at half price, which is a plain bagel without toppings, typically costs $2 at the end of each day for redistribution. But Rao declined the offer. Kotzes also expressed discomfort with the apparent arrangement between Rao and store employees, believing Rao should have directly approached him about the leftover goods. He became aware of the situation a few months ago and instructed his staff to cease involvement. Additionally, Kotzes claimed to possess surveillance footage showing Rao rummaging through the trash and leaving the refuse outside, an allegation Rao refutes. Kotzes emphasized that if someone approached them at the end of the day and had a genuine conversation about needing the bagels for feeding homeless people, it would be a different situation. Kotzes said that when Rao took the bagels out of the garbage, he didn't know if he was selling them or what he was doing with them. He added, "He can't just take stuff out of our garbage and expect Kotzes workers to clean up after." Kotzes mentioned considering obtaining a restraining order against Rao. He also claimed that he had to terminate one of his employees who had assisted in Rao's activities. Rao, firmly denying ever causing a mess outside Bagel Pub, remains optimistic about reaching an agreement with the business. He's completely open to making amends with Bagel Pub. However, he disputes Chris's claims that his actions led to 3 citations, or that Kotzes had to dismiss an employee for assisting him, which he considers untrue. Recently, Rao struck a deal with Lula Bagel, a charming spot on Nostrand Avenue, located about a half-mile away from Bagel Pub, to contribute their surplus bagels to community fridges. Rao clarified that he doesn't subscribe to Marxist ideologies. Everyone can make their own choices. He specifically refers to Bagel Pub, emphasizing that if there's waste, if there's excess, let's not simply discard it. In reflecting on the bagel dispute, it becomes evident that it extends beyond a simple conflict between individuals. It highlights pressing issues of food waste, social responsibility, and the obligation of businesses to contribute to community welfare. While the dispute remains unresolved, it serves as a microcosm of larger challenges facing New York City, including homelessness, waste management, and the need for community solidarity. As viewers, we must recognize our role in addressing these issues. We have the power to make a difference by advocating for sustainable practices, supporting initiatives to combat homelessness, and fostering a stronger sense of community. Let's channel our collective energy and resources towards making NYC a better place for all its residents. Subscribe to stay informed and join us in creating positive change.